welcome back to Math Tutoring. Today we're going to do another homework help question from our 3 Maths group on Facebook. And I picked it because I really like this. It's a simple type question, but a lot of students struggle with it. And this is what we call a piecemeal or piecewise function. Right, because what it is, you see it's more than one function combined on the same graph. Right, f of x has 3 different functions but for different domains. So essentially the best way to actually deal with this type of question is to actually sketch what each graph looks like. So let's look at y equals 1 on x. So we should know that that's a basic hyperbola that looks like this. And then let's look at y equals -1, which is a line that looks like this through -1. That's the x-axis. Let me just put that there, and then I'll just fit it down here. X minus 3. That goes through 3 and -3. So each of those 3 graphs individually look like that, but a piecemeal function graph wants us to put all those 3 graphs on the same, so that plus that, and we want to put it on one big diagram. Now what we're going to do is we're going to take into account these domains here. So the first thing you have to know that less than or greater than equals an open circle, less than or equal to or greater than equals a closed circle. So let's look here, x less than -1. Now when x equals -1, which is about here, y equals -1 as well. Right, 1 or -1 equals that. So they're saying x is less than -1, so that's this direction here. So that means this curve is going to look like that, but with an open circle because it's less than -1, right? That's what it looks like. It's that. So on the number plane, x less than -1, that. So that means if we go here, I put -1 here, I put -1 here, put an open circle there. That means for when x less than -1, it's just going to look like that part of the hyperbola, right? Because we ignore everything to the right because x less than -1. And if we go here, -1's between x between -1 and 2. So we start at -1, closed circle, and we go up to 2, but open circle. So between these values, x value is the curve, starts here and just looks like that. Right, so that starts at -1. So what you'll notice now, if I put just 2 here, is now I actually can close that circle and join it together because -1's included from here, right? They have the same y value at that x value. So that, even though that's open, that's closed at the same point. So it ends up being closed. Now let's have a look here. When x is 2, y is -1 again, right? 2 minus 3 is -1. So look here, this is strict inequality. So normally it'd be just for those x values, the curve is going to start here and go up as a straight line like that. So we would put an open circle here at 2, and then we would go up like a straight line would at 3. But again, this point's closed, so we can from, oh no, wait. So I'm just going to have to rub that out for a second here. Rubby. Yeah, so you gotta be really careful. I just noticed it now. Here's a trick. Is 2 is not included in any of them, right? So normally that would have been included, but that means I have to have an open circle here, which means there's an open circle here still. Now draw a line, right? So 2 is not included in any of those. So that means there must be an open circle for the whole thing. So yeah, that's what this piecemeal graph will look like, right? So the key is, the best way to do this, it's a long way, is draw each graph individually. Then go to each graph, look at the domain, and then just highlight along the x-axis what part of the curve it's included, which means everything else is excluded. So I'm going to rub that out. That part's not needed anymore. So that means, and don't forget to indicate if it's an open or closed circle. So then I trace that part down. Then I go to the middle. So it's here, so that means that part's gone and then that part's gone. So then I'm left with that. So then I put that down and then excraven to, which means that part's all gone. So you can see the end result is that curve plus that curve plus that curve turns into this one combined piecemeal function. So a lot of times these three parts do connect nicely, and normally this would be included, but the trick here is none of those points is included. So yeah, it's a pretty straightforward for a bit of practice. With practice, you won't need to draw each individual curve. You can just go straight to this curve. With practice, that's the aim. So if you enjoyed today's quick homework help question on piecemeal or piecewise function graphs, make sure to give us a like and comment below. Also comment below what you'd like to see more videos on. And don't forget to subscribe and share with your friends. Turn those notifications on so you know when my videos are released. I have no schedule, but there's at least one new video a week, alright? So not following any kind of schedule, but there will be at least one video a week, so make sure to have those notifications on so you know when they're released. Otherwise, you can just refresh the newsfeed, but that's boring. I'll see you guys next time.